So this might be the last major update that we get on the process of making a new NASCAR playoff or points format for a long time. At least the last one that we'll get that's not just a rumor or hearsay or someone said they heard someone else say in the industry. And this comes from Jeff Gluck on the Teardown this past week, where he kind of broke down the last meeting of the playoff committee and where NASCAR networks and a lot of the people in there, not specified, but in general, stand on everything. The big one that everyone's talking about is that NBC has more or less removed themselves from the discussion. This comes off the heels of Jeff Burton saying something very similar and other quotes from a few months and weeks ago of NBC execs saying that they'd let NASCAR make the final decisions and, quote, that they would, you do what's best. You make the decision to NASCAR. Whatever happens, it sounds like it will be up to NASCAR, and so you can either thank them or blame them. Now, I will point out that I do think TV still has a big part in this. I do think that at the same time, NASCAR will get the final say, but TV gets the veto power on this. If TV really doesn't like it or they don't want to market it, NASCAR will probably shift to something that is more marketable to their sensibilities, at least. But it is interesting to hear that now somebody like Jeff Gluck, who is definitely not on the side of playoffs or elimination style playoffs, is saying something similar. I think it holds more weight than someone, say, like Jeff Burton, who works for NBC, holding the water. Now, there were some major points that he brought up as well, and I'll link the entire episode so you can listen to everything in full down there, but I want to talk about the big stuff. One of the things was that at any point, it didn't sound like there was much talk of the 3-3-4 driver format when it came to the races eliminating and 6 driver finales and all of that. So that's interesting to hear, especially after Jordan Bianchi reported it and then tried to pass it off as just hearsay. They also, again, hammered home simplification is a big focus. You don't want somebody new to NASCAR coming in and saying, this is really stupid, I can't understand it. So one of the things that is now on the table is getting rid of playoff points. Instead, rewarding those who make the playoffs based off where they're seated and where they are in the point standings. I think that in a way this would be good. I think playoff points, while a bit overcomplicated, do help at least reward the regular season, whether that be for where they finish in the top 10 in points, wins, stage wins, but I totally get it. It took a few years for me to finally get it down, and I'm a diehard of this sport. I love the sport. But there were a few times, and maybe this is just because I don't really care as much of the championship anymore as I do the individual races, that I just gave up at points, didn't care. And I know there's a lot of people I know who don't watch it diehard, but will watch it with me. They maybe watch 12 to 20 races a year, and it's usually because I have it on the TV. And they don't know a damn thing of how this works. They just wait for the numbers to pop up at the end of the broadcast. So I think that simplification is a big step. On top of that, they're still deliberating the amount of entries that would be in the playoffs. I'm assuming they wouldn't add more. I don't know how you could. Would you have a 20-driver playoff? I just don't see how that is the possibility. I think 16 has to be the max. Now, I would have said the same about 12, but 12 or even 10 might be a better way to go about it too. If you have 12, maybe you can eliminate 3 and 3 and then have 6 remaining if you do the 3-3-4 method. Who knows? But with that too, then you also have to look at the possibilities of maybe winning in. NASCAR really loves winning in, according to Jeff Gluck, and they really like what it makes. And they have a lot of the same arguments, it sounds like, that Jordan Bianchi would have, of it adding drama to the regular season, saving different drivers' seasons, though they might maybe have a cap to how far down in the points you can be to get your winning in. Back in the day, it was top 30. And then it was top 20 even before that for the wild card. Where does that line go in? How do you reward a good season while still making wins really matter in the grand scheme of things for qualifications? Those are different parts that NASCAR is looking at as well. And there is also the possibility, and I honestly like this personally, the possibility of playoff drivers that are eliminated going back to where they would be in the point standings at season's end. So maybe you have a final 4 or 6, but those other 6 to 10 drivers, well, they would actually end up going back. So if Shane Van Gisbergen gets eliminated, he'd probably go back to like 25th or so in point standings. And I think at least in that respect, it rewards even those that missed it but had a really good season, that they still get the top end points finish they deserve, and at 17th or 18th, which is overboard. But on the other end, I will say that goes against the simplification side of it. It's just another side of the points that people, especially fans of those drivers, are going to have to take care of and look at. Now, what I find really interesting, though, and maybe it's because of my own bias to this side of the argument, is that a 36-race championship is still on the table. It's highly unlikely. It probably won't happen. But the fact that it's lasted this long is really, really interesting. And the fact that more and more people in the committee are talking about it and listening to it is really, really interesting. Now, I get the feeling off of the way that Jeff talked about it that it was a lot of people basically saying, yeah, if we are able to do that, that would be the right way. And from what he said, it sounds like it has gained momentum in the industry and those in the playoff committee on top of a huge push by the fans. So while I don't think that this is some major 50-50 shot of happening, I also don't think this is some below 1% chance of happening either. There has been a very real push for this, both again, in the industry and in the fan base. Now, it is also interesting to say that he had brought up, it seems like it'd be the most fair and best option to reward a champion in a vacuum. And I think that's important to look at, as even though I am pro 36 race championship, I understand that the way that NASCAR has changed since then, there would be a ton of monumental growing pains both on and off the track when it came to how this would be done. Racing would be different, and it would. I know people don't want to say it, but it would. It would be different in how they go about races. It would be different in how strategies would go and how cars were even prepared for different parts of the year. And on top of that, there is the business aspect. Nowadays, the industry is very monetarily reliant on playoffs, and especially the top end of it. Playoff teams get more bonus money. Tracks are saying that the playoffs help them with attendance. And also, it's easier to sell sponsors off the word playoffs because people who don't know a damn thing about racing know about what playoffs are, and it seems appealing. So there's a lot to look at with that. And he did bring up that at the end of the day, this will be a compromise. There are plenty of people on the Pro 36 side. There's plenty of people on the Pro Chase side, and that might even be a possibility of some kind of reworked, revamped chase for the Cup. And there are plenty of Pro Playoff people. And I know that maybe my comment section might not reflect that, but there are a lot, and they deserve to be listened to in some ways too, just like the 36 racers and the chasers deserve to be listened to in some way as well. Overall, I'm going to be honest, I don't think that really people are going to be all that happy. They're either going to put up with it or just check out. It's difficult at this point, and NASCAR's painted themselves in this corner. And if it's to be believed about the TV side, which I don't really believe it as much as a lot of people, then you know what? It is on NASCAR. But with that, I want to know what you think. What decision do you think NASCAR makes when it comes to this? There won't be an announcement until after the season to avoid any more controversy at this rate. But I want to know what you guys think it'll be. 3-3-4, 10-race chase, a reworked version of the current playoffs. It's not one of those. Or, hell, does 36 races somehow win out in a huge underdog win? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.